Ay, Dios mío, thank you, Adriana, for this holistic medicine. The fever has broken now.
He used to watch his favorite show, then got a job on a TV show, talking about that favorite show, but then he had to go. But then he got his own show, talking about that favorite show. It's called Dishin with DOOLigan. Dishin with DOOLigan.
Hey, Dooligans, Mr. Dooligan here. Welcome to another episode of Dishin with Dooligan. So before we get started on today's show, I'm going to send out my tweet to see if we can get any questions and comments from you guys, get some feedback while I record the show, and maybe perhaps I can answer it uh, while we recap the show. So I'm sending that out right now. Boom. Okay, so let's get started with the show. So today's episode started out with Chad. I know a lot of people are happy to see him back on the screen, um, but it starts out the episode with him scrapbooking, sitting at his desk being all mopey, cutting out pictures of Abigail and Thomas and putting it together in some kind of little scrapbook. And actually, CR actually walks in and makes a comment about that she didn't know that he was into scrapbooking. But he did tell her, that what he's doing, what the purpose of it is for Abigail. Um, and then we cut to Abigail and Dr. Robinson, and they start talking amongst each other about what happened with the visit with Chad and Thomas. Basically, Abigail's telling the doctor that she doesn't want to hurt Chad, and reason being is because when she was explaining to him how she was trying to get close to Thomas, and Thomas was screaming and crying, and the doctor was like, "Well, that's what babies do." But she is just blaming herself, thinking that she's a bad mother. So right now, Abby is just blaming herself for all this anguish that she believes that she's causing Thomas. And then when she's talking to her about that, Dr. Thomas actually pulls out that little stuffed bunny that Abigail threw out at the end of yesterday's episode, and returns it to her. And Abby's just like overjoyed with seeing this bunny and starts talking about it. How JJ gave Thomas the bunny and how he'd like to play with it. And she's just going through all these explanations. And then uh, Dr. Robinson mentions that she threw it away, and she got like this shocked look on her face. Was like, no, I would never throw this away. This is too special. So we get a glimpse that Abigail is actually going into these states where she's forgetting what she's doing, because she was very hurt and distraught. Like, I would never throw this away. And the doctor was like, yeah, you did. One of the orderlies found this in the trash, saw you throw it away, and decided to retrieve it for you. So um, that's kind of another glimpse of to what Abigail is going through right now. Then we move over to Roman and Rafe. They're in, obviously, they're still at the police station. Um, and they're trying to figure out with this whole Aiden thing that's going on. But while before that, he's on the phone to find out about the DNA results that they were going to do on Chase to see if they match up with Aiden. So what happens is the results came in, and the DNA Chase's DNA does not match uh, the Aiden that's dead and buried in the ground, but they do match with the Aiden that's in custody right now. So I guess that theory of Chase being a doppelganger is not going to happen unless they throw in another twist. That they doctored the results. We don't know, or the Damaris doctored the results. But so far, right now, Chase is Chase and Aiden is Aiden. So they were pretty shocked to find out that Aiden is actually telling the truth of who he is. Then we move to Hope and Andre. She's actually visiting him in jail, and she wants to actually talk to him about Aiden coming back. And of course, Andre plays stupid, and he's like, what are you talking about? I have nothing to do with this. And he's like not even trying to take the blame for this. And he made a point. He's like, even if I was, would I even tell you or tip you off? So he's basically pointing all the fingers to Stefano, his father. Um, so, and Hope is like, oh, how convenient. You're pointing the fingers to your father who's already dead and gone. Or, yeah, or dead. Um, so that was a cool interaction between both of them. And then we cut back to Chad and Ciara, and they're there while she's taking care of Thomas, and Chad is still scrapbooking. And basically, Chad reaches out to Ciara and asks her what's going on in her life. And she decides to open up to him because she tells him that he's really the only person that she can confide in. And maybe this is the foundation that the writers are trying to go to when they're going to try to um, pair up Ciara and Chad. I know a lot of people aren't happy about that. I'm not really going for that, but it'd be a little bit interesting, with Theo, Chad, and Ciara because they are, Theo is Chad's nephew, so it'd be a little kind of like a family drama there. But anyways, going back to the thing, she starts confiding in him, and they actually start exchanging stories about therapy, about how Hope is wanting Ciara to go to therapy to talk to Marlena, and then Chad's like, well, I spoke with Marlena and had therapy sessions with her, and they actually came out very well because she helped me, you know, um, realize that I was being framed for these murders, the necktie murders. I mean, we all know that storyline. So that was a nice little thing where they were kind of like having this little bonding moment between them. So then we move over to Finn. He's at the hospital, and he's there with Seth, the chief administrator, and a representative from the CDC. And they start going over the results with the IV bags from Paul. And basically, they made a statement that Gabby's state is improving. So she's broke. So the fever has broken with her, and she's no longer delirious. And so now they want to test results. They want to start working with Gabby about how she came out of it, and Finn is basically saying we should put more our focus on Paul since he's patient zero, but the CDC doesn't want to do that, and then Seth, the chief administrator, is like we need to come up with some kind of answer. So there's like this little discussion between them. And then we move over to Gabby and Adriana, and they're basically talking about Ari, because they're saying that Ari's fever hasn't broken yet, and Gabby actually mentions to Adriana, her mom, and says, when I was having a fever when I was younger, you used to have this holistic medicine that would apply, and it was I think they said it was a poultice. I think that's what the word poultice. So some kind of holistic medicine that the mother used to give to her. So Gabby was saying maybe we should try that on Ariana, begging her to do it. So that's the little plan that they're coming up with to see if they can apply that to Ariana and see maybe her fever can break. Then we catch a glimpse of Kayla. Kayla's up and out of her bed and she's running around, Kayla being Kayla, trying to fix everything. And Finn kind of makes a comment like, you need to stay in bed because, you're sick. And, Kayla doesn't want to listen to him. So, that's Kayla. Then we cut back to Rafe, back at the police station. And he actually wants to go in and talk to Aiden because since these results are back and Aiden is all in the clear, they have no way of holding Aiden. But Aiden, being the lawyer that he is, he's like, you can't hold me here. You have to let me go. And they're like, well, no, you broke into Hope's house. And he's like, well, no, because I had a key that she gave me. So, I really technically didn't break into her house. So before they let him go, Rafe wants to have a little sit down talk with him and kind of lay the groundwork of bring him up to speed of what's going on. So they actually sit down and basically have a little pissing contest between them about trying to fight over Hope and who loves Hope more and who wants to be with Hope more and blah blah blah. And then they start talking about Chase because Aiden was like, I'm going to get back with Hope. And he's like, well, not since your son just raped Ciara. And so, of course, Aiden is saying, defending Chase. And like, he was distraught about me killing Hope and I was dead. So he wasn't in his right mind. So they start going back and forth about that. And then we cut back to Chad and Ciara. And Ciara's still confiding in Chad with things, and she actually talks about Aiden to Chad, about how Aiden is back, and Chad is really shocked to hear this news, obviously. So they start talking about that a little bit, and to see if like Hope knows, and Sarah's like, well, yeah, actually, Hope is the one who told me. Um, and then we get Chad gets a phone call. While Ciara leaves the room, Chad gets a phone call from Abby. And that's where it cuts to a commercial. So we move on to cut to a scene back in the hospital, and Adriana is actually applying this holistic poultice to Ariana. And of course, the nurse comes in, and the doctors come in. They're like, "You can't be doing that. You can't be doing that." And they're like, "Well, we're gonna apply. You can, Adriana actually like got some, you know, strength in her, and was like stood up to them. Was like, you know what? I'm gonna apply this. I'm a nurse. If you want to take me out of here, you're gonna have to pick me up and drag and carry me out of here because I'm gonna be doing this." And Kayla said I can help out. So she really stood her ground on that. So she was applying that to Ari. And then we cut back to Rafe and Roman, and and then Hope finally arrives from visiting Andre, and she comes to the police station, and they want to tell her that Aiden is Aiden, so they told her about the DNA results, and of course she's like, okay, she kind of knew in the back of her head that Aiden was Aiden, but she really didn't want to believe it. But now that their test results are back, she can't really, dispute that. Um, so basically, they have to release Aiden now. So Hope releases Aiden from custody, and they have this little discussion between back and forth how Aiden is wanting to pick up where they left off, how he wants to continue to pursue Hope, because kind of maybe they're even technically still married, because Hope still doesn't know when the switch happened. We all know that it was after the fact that they got married, but he's claiming that it was before. So, we'll see um, how that plays out. You see if Hope can put the pieces together. Um, And so then we cut to Abby and Chad. They're still talking on the phone. Abby is, apparently Dr. Robinson had lended her cell phone in order to call Chad. So when Abby is calling Chad, she tells him, you know, through per this conversation, that she doesn't want him to show up anymore and visit her at the hospital, and she doesn't want Jennifer, her mom, or JJ, her brother, to come visit her either, because she just wants to cut ties with them, because it's too hard for her, and she feels it's too hard for the family. And of course, Chad doesn't want to hear this, and he gets very, very upset. Um, Now he doesn't get upset at her, but he gets very upset, and she just basically hangs up the phone on him and ends the conversation like that. Um, so then we cut to Hope, back to Hope and Aiden, and they're still having this little conversation how he wants her back and how he's going to continue to pursue her, and she actually starts talking to him about, Bo comes into the conversation, because I don't think I don't think Aiden knows that Bo is dead, but he said that Bo is dead, that he died of cancer because he was captured too. So she kind of is comparing Aiden's situation with Bo's, saying that they were both captured by the Demiras, and they were both held captive, and they both were kind of same situation, and they both escaped, came back, tried to rescue Hope, or come back for Hope. So she kind of feels Aiden's situation, but she still doesn't want to give in to him. I think there's a little piece of her that she still is in love with Aiden, but the fact that everything that she's gone through is not gonna help her out. It's not gonna make things easy. Um, so after she leaves, then Aiden and Roman have a little conversation about Aiden's telling him, that he's going to try to get Chase out of jail because he has, or actually out of, he hasn't been sentenced, so he's being held in jail. So he's talking about getting Chase free. So let's see if that happens. If that happens, then obviously Ciara is not going to like that, and then we'll see what happens with that. And maybe they'll bring Theo into it, and Theo will probably protect Ciara from all this. Um, and then we cut to Rafe and Hope. They're at the Brady pub, and Caroline kind of peeks in her head, and she's telling them, about the virus, how she heard about, you know, Rafe's family and everybody else is quarantined in the hospital. And it's kind of funny. I mean, I've mentioned this on Twitter with a bunch of other people. It's like you would think this would be a bigger deal in Salem, especially when there's Brady's trapped in there. Little Ari's trapped in there. She's a Brady. You would think people would be coming more together to try to figure this thing out. And then I did mention on Twitter about Kayla. Just oh, Ari's there. Not even realizing that she's family. Like she's her great grand aunt. But these are the writers of Days. They're just want to put out their own storyline and forget about the history of Days, which is the whole reason why us fans watch this, is because of the history is there. So that's my little rant. So anyways, Rafe calls his mom and just check in and on Ari and Adriana, and I'm sorry, Ari and Gabby, and Adriana tells Rafe that the fever has broken, that this holistic medicine that she applied to Ari is working, and that the fever has broken. So it's actually, so maybe Adriana has found a cure for this. Maybe they'll be able to administer this to everybody else. Hopefully, it's not too late for everybody else, since a lot of people have died from this virus. So we'll see how that goes. And then we cut to Chad, and he's having a discussion with Dr. Robinson. And of course, he's all up on her, getting mad about the conversation he had, or the phone call that he received from Abby. And he's telling her, we want to be there for her and stuff like that. And so it's that same old conversation. The Dr. Robinson's like, if she doesn't want you here, she doesn't want you here. It's for her own health. It's going to make her feel better and make her get better. So maybe you should stay away. And of course, Chad doesn't like that. So he goes back to the DeMira mansion, and he goes back there and just starts being really weepy and crying, and still working on his little scrapbook. And of course, he's being all emo. And then in walks Ciara, hearing him crying, and she puts her hand on his shoulder, and she's trying to comfort him. So here's this whole thing where they're, maybe they're trying to plant the seeds with this whole shipping of Ciara and Chad. So we'll see. I don't know if I'm looking forward to this, but we'll see how that happens. And then we cut to the last scene of the episode, and it's actually a scene with Aiden. And he walks in and he sits down and he's visiting Andre. And Andre comes in and he was like, well, look what we have here. So obviously, come Monday, that was the cliffhanger for today's episode. So obviously, come Monday, we're going to want to see, what this whole thing between Chase and this conversation between Chase and Andre now was. Chase, why am I keep on saying Chase? Aiden and Andre. We're gonna see this conversation between them now. We want to know, maybe on Aiden was intentionally set free, making him think that he escaped, but maybe the DeMiras actually let him go. We don't know. Maybe Aiden thinks he's the real Aiden and he's not. Maybe he's another doppelganger. We don't know about that, but it's going to be an interesting conversation between them. So that was the end of the episode. So what did you guys think about the episode? You can leave the comments below. What do you think of my episodes? If you have any feedback, if you want to see anything added, see anything taken out, like I said, work in progress. This show is for you guys. I'm doing it for the fun, not for the fame. So, this is a show for you guys that I'm doing for you. So you let me know your feedback. I welcome any kind of constructive criticism for this show. But before I go, and I'm just going to do this segment like I do every other segment, I'm going to talk about Red Nose Day. And as I've said before, this happens on Thursday, May 26th. 9 p.m., 8 p.m. Central. Red Nose Day, like I said, is all about having fun and raising money and changing lives. and it's basically an organization that will help transform the lives of children living in poverty in the US and internationally. I got my red nose at Walgreens, which is an exclusive red nose retailer. You can pick those up for $1. And if you want to find out more information, I'm going to put their web address down here. It's rednosedayusa.com, rednosedayusa.com. So go out, pick up a nose, take a selfie with it, throw some hashtags in there, and just show your support with NBC and let them know that we're backing them up on their cause. And definitely tune in on Thursday, May 26th on NBC for Red Nose Day and see what special stuff they have in store for us. So that's the end of this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. So you guys have a great day, great evening, great afternoon, like I say, whenever you do watch these episodes. So you have an amazing weekend, and I will see you guys on Monday. Peace, love, and days. Bye.